Transformative is a series of short films that try and explain the history of fashion photography as seen from the perspective of the stylist, the makeup artist and the hairdresser. I can talk to you about one more story, friend, and I'm going to start.
No worries.
As it's late, I'm happy to talk to you about lots, but I think it's probably best to talk about one more.
Ah, Monsieur Paolo.
Mr. Paolo.
Yes.
Back to a European photographer.
Back to a completely different flavour altogether.
Also incredibly, well, I shouldn't put words into your mouth. Tell me a little about working with Paolo Roversi.
Oh, he's got a very different way of working, Paolo.
Mm-hmm.
Paolo's really very loose in the way that he works.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about this picture, the series of pictures in particular.
Well, that's Emily Sandberg, and that's like with Pat and Edward.
Yep,
for ID.
Yep.
We love Ed,
We
do big time. And it was just, I don't know how I can describe Paolo. Actually, it's a bit like it's a little bit like working with your favourite uncle.
Right.
He's like really very, very warm, incredibly articulate, and it feels, with Paolo, it just feels really quite effortless.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe it. Like, you feel like you have someone, you've done her hair, but you could be at home.
Right.
With this person,
yeah.
You know, in his atelier. You don't really feel like, oh, this is a shoot, like, oh, you know, like we're gonna pull it together.
Yeah.
You don't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
So you're really relaxed, and you kind of play.
Right.
Really, and there is not really a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
So that makes you feel. Push yourself, because no one's pushing you.
Right.
Like, no one is pushing you.
Right.
You know.
And how long was the session? What sort of you?
It can be. I mean, with Paolo, it can be like a 6-hour session, or it can be a 17-hour session. Yeah. But it never feels like a 17-hour session, which is what's really nice. Yeah. And it feels almost like we kind of give him. The meat and bones of an oil painting. Right. We give him like the blueprint, and then he just kind of like finishes it off with these kind of like these colours and lights, and just gives it another dimension, or puts it in a different world. You know, and I think whenever I look at Paolo's pictures, they are in a world, aren't they? You know, like that's Absolutely. The universe of Paolo. Yeah. And I think I learned something that was really very helpful for me. Yeah. When I worked with Paolo, I actually I learned a lot more about light.
Right.
And
in what way? How does he light?
Colour. It varies. Yeah. Mainly on a lot of his pictures, he does a long exposure with light on the background and no light on the girl. Uh-huh. That can be like flash on the background and daylight on the girl. It can be whatever. Yeah. And then he does another thing, which he lights the pit, does a huge exposure, and everything's lit with torch and gels, and we all kind of like have fun, kind of moving the light around. Yeah. So it's very painterly, and it's a very gestural way of working. Right. So it's completely different. Yeah. It's completely different. It's kind of like. It's kind of like you don't start with a white canvas. Your canvas is black. Right. Right, and then colours come into the canvas, and then you begin to see shapes. So it's a very, very different way of working. Yeah. It's like almost working in reverse. Yeah.
So when I first came across Paolo, he did the Yo Moto catalogue before I first started mine. And he did the most incredibly beautiful Yo Moto catalogue with model called Sasha Robertson. No, Sasha Robertson.
Oh, right.
And it was all lit with, it was all on Polaroid, 10.8 Polaroid, and it was lit with coloured gels. So it's red gel on this side, green gel on that side.
Yeah, totally.
And I know the story that they started off on the beach at Deauville, and they worked for 3 days trying to get the catalogue together. This is him, Paolo Roversi, and Mark Ascoli. trying to find his catalogue on the beach in Dover. It didn't work at all.
Not at all.
So they went back to Paris in Paolo's studio, in his atelier,
right.
and spent sort of 3 days and 3 nights working all the time with this beautiful Sasha Robertson. There was a young artist flown, a young model flown out from Britain, and creating these incredible coloured
Polaroids. I know the ones you're on about, yeah.
Really amazing work. Yeah, Sasha Robertson, fantastic.
Half a blue face.
Half a blue face, half a red face, exactly, all that.
Yeah.
And he worked for a long time on 10-8 Polaroid. That was his thing. So obviously Polaroid ran out at a certain point.
Yeah.
And he started working in different ways. I remember a story that I heard about Paolo. I don't know how true it was, but it seemed to me to sum him up in some ways. That he was asked to do a story, I think, for British Vogue.
American Vogue.
It was American Vogue? Is this the opera
Never
story?
worked for him again, right?
Well, this is the story I heard. You can tell me yours, I'll tell you my story.
I'll tell you from the horse's mouth if you like.
Okay, well, I'll tell you my story, you can tell what you know. That he was supposed to do a story for, I thought it was British Vogue, under Anna Wintour, when Anna Wintour was a British Vogue. And 3 days, he tried, didn't work, and in the end he didn't hand the pictures in. He sent an opera, a CD or a record of his favourite opera.
I think you'll enjoy this more than my pictures.
Exactly, I exactly have the same story.
True story.
Yeah.
So
that seemed to be to sum him up.
You know what though, I think when I hear stories like that, I kind of love people even more because I think they've got integrity, and I think that's something that I think we kind of really need.
Yeah.
It's lacking a little bit at the moment.
Well, comes and goes.
Comes and goes, hopefully.
He's always reminded me, and I hope he takes us in the right way, as a broken artist. He has that.
Totally.
Yeah, would you agree on that sort of description of him? Probably not totally true.
I would say, no. I think you're right, actually. I think he's kind of like a broken artist, but I think he's not tormented by it. He finds it quite funny.
Yeah.
Like he'll bring a mandolin out on the shoot and start playing it really badly.
Oh, really?
And he's got a terrible voice.
Do you mean he sings badly, or?
Yeah, really badly.
Right. Okay.
Really, really badly, but he knows it and he doesn't care, and that's really what I love about him.
Right.
He's completely at home with who he is. He's very comfortable.
Yeah. He does some of the most beautiful pictures.
I think so, yeah.
So, it should also be said that
one day I hope to own a print of one of them.
Really?
I would love to, yeah.
And how many photographers give you prints or give you Polaroids as presents?
Just Craig.
Right, okay. Hint taken.
I think just Craig, yeah.
I mean, again, I remember Erin O'Connor saying to me that Richard Avedon would give her Polaroids.
Yeah, totally.
10-8 Polaroids would say, here you are, have these, you're not supposed to have them all the same.
Yeah.
So.
He was great though, that guy.
Yeah.
Like 72 years old and just like this fireball of energy.
Yeah.
Tiny little man, but just big in personality.
Yeah. Fantastic. Eugene, thank you very much. We'll stop there, although I could talk to you much more about many more things, and perhaps we should do a reprise of this at some point in the future.
Be lovely.
Well, I think we both worked long and hard today. So
I think we have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick.